Hey friends, it's Barry, and today we are in the kitchen. We are making this recipe. I've actually found quite a few recipes that are similar to this, but this one's my favorite. It is called crossbread, and we need flour, salt, baking soda, and milk. So we got the milk and not the flour. Now I need to get the baking soda, which I'm going to do in this handy dandy little shot glass that also has measurements. So I didn't have a 3/4, so if you guys don't have a 3/4 measure, you can take a 1/2 teaspoon and a 1/4 teaspoon, and they both make 3/4. Baking math. Gonna plop those in there. Then I'm going to add the flour. This is just how I do it. You can do it however. And we need 1/2 teaspoon of salt. You can use any salt for this, but in my opinion, this is the best salt to use because it's just pink and it is better than regular salt. This might be tricky. I'm gonna have to put you guys down. I'm just gonna. Now this one's a kneading dough. I've not heard people say this when they're making this recipe, but you gotta knead the dough. Gotta move everything around. Grab any type of spoon. Let's see. Don't want to use this one that's over here. And now you're just gonna want to whisk those 4 ingredients together, preferably in a big bowl. Sometimes I'll under measure and get too small of a bowl. It'll look kind of weird because you'll just have to change up the recipe a little bit because sometimes it'll be too clumpy or too wet. You might need to add some more flour if it gets that way. This is also a no yeast bread, if you guys haven't already noticed that. I don't use too much yeast whenever I'm making things. Now when we're done when we're done turning it, you'll be able to knead this into a nice thick ball if you want, or you could just not do that. This is not a melt and pour type of bread, so you're going to want to knead this. And so I did have to put just a slight more bit of flour as it wasn't quite ready to be kneaded. It was just slightly sticky. You want to knead this really good because you're going to want to make it into a ball consistency. Just slightly still more sticky. I mean, if you really don't want to, you don't have to knead it, but I just find that it works better to knead this bread. Nice hand ASMR. Sorry for the weird close-up. I don't have anyone to film this for me, so you're just going to have to get what I can get. This will be one of 2 recipes that I'm putting up on the channel for the first time. I did have one years ago that was an egg salad, if you guys want to check that one out. Okay, as you guys can see, it's starting to get more that dough consistency that is sticking actually together to itself, and it's almost ready to be baked. We got to preheat the oven first. If you guys haven't already preheated your oven, it needs to be at 425, and you will bake this for 20 to 25 minutes, depending on how hard you will like your bread. Just gotta slap the bread. Make sure it got all the stuff off my hands. That's this nice little dough ball consistency. Make sure it gets anything that it needs from the inside the bin. Now, I'm not an expert when it comes to baking bread, but I at least know how to make this bread. And it's super, super easy if you don't want to use yeast, if you don't want to worry about eggs and rising and all this fun stuff. Because a lot of that can be intimidating for new bakers, or just old bakers, or just anyone. Just got to make sure that all of this, you want to make it so it's no folds in it, because we got to cross the bread. That's where I got the name from, pretty much. Now, there's another recipe floating around that also calls this Irish soda bread. This is similar to it, I guess. I don't know why it's just never been called that. for this type of recipe, but I guess you could call this Irish soda bread as well. It's just made a little bit different. So we're gonna let this sit here for a bit while I get that oven ready. So now that you've oiled your pan, you're gonna wanna put your bread in the center. You don't have to bake it in anything special as long as it's flat. This bread will like get to like here. It'll be a nice big round loaf, and you're gonna wanna score it. You could use parchment paper as well, but I just didn't do that. Gosh, this gotta be the weirdest video to be watching right now. I only got a serrated knife. This is not good. I don't know how much more this will turn out compared to my original bread that I tried. And if you find this too difficult, you could probably just use twine. I know some breads you can bake it with twine on it and it'll be just fine. Okay, so that should be good. Now we do have our oven preheating. It's only at 240 right now. But while that's preheating, we're gonna start on our next recipe, and that is going to be protein chocolate cookies. Yes, without chocolate chips because I don't got any. And so while we were doing the cookies, this came out after 25 minutes. It's a little more bent out because, you know, that's the way we did this crust. I put some butter right in the middle, so that just, it's just perfect. Cute little, nice bread. It kind of sounds hard, but it's just the crust. It'll be nice and firm inside. This is not sandwich bread, but you can use it as sandwich bread if you wanted.